The Phoenix Suns were supposed to be different this year. A super team on paper: Kevin Durant, Devin Booker, Bradley Beal. 3 All-Stars, 3 elite scorers, a championship caliber core. And yet, as the 2024-25 NBA season unraveled, they became the league's most expensive disaster. No chemistry, no depth, no answers. This wasn't just a failed season, this was a warning shot about how not to build an NBA contender. So what the hell happened in Phoenix? Coming into the season, the hype was real. Devin Booker was so confident he said respectfully, "I don't know how teams are going to guard us." After a blockbuster trade landed Bradley Beal and sent Chris Paul packing, fans believed this was the final infinity stone. Sure, Beal was often injured in DC, but this was Phoenix, a fresh start, less ball handling responsibility, and the chance to be the league's most overqualified third option. Vegas set the Suns over-under at 51.5 wins. Pundits ranked them top 3 in the West. It made sense and looked like going exactly to plan after their 8-1 start to the season. On paper, you had Kevin Durant, one of the most efficient scorers in NBA history, Devin Booker, a cold-blooded shotmaker in his prime coming off an Olympic gold medal, Bradley Beal still capable of dropping 30 on any given night. They even shipped DeAndre Ayton for Jusuf Nurkic, a culture change move to get someone who embraced his role. New head coach Mike Budenholzer, a former champion with the Bucks, was brought in to provide defensive structure. But sometimes, on paper doesn't mean a damn thing. From the very start, the cracks were visible. Bradley Beal missed the first 20 games with a lingering back issue. Durant and Booker had to carry the offense again, and even when all 3 were on the court, the fit wasn't as seamless as advertised. There was no true point guard, no floor general. Booker often took on the primary playmaking duties, which worked in stretches but left the offense stagnant when traps came. Beal looked hesitant, uncomfortable, sometimes even invisible. And then there was the defense. For all of Budenholzer's reputation, this team just couldn't get stops. Jusuf Nurkic struggled to defend in space, the wing depth was laughable, Grayson Allen and Royce O'Neal were solid off the bench, but neither could give them defensively what they needed. Opponents feasted on mismatches every single night. By mid-season, the Suns were hovering around 500, a team that was supposed to dominate the West was fighting for a play-in spot. Then came the drama. Budenholzer, once a championship coach, looked completely out of sync with the roster. Rotations were inconsistent, players were confused. Bradley Beal reportedly clashed with Budenholzer behind the scenes about his role and late-game usage. According to The Athletic, there were moments this season where Beal completely turned on Budenholzer's instructions. Leadership became a whisper instead of a voice. And with Durant and Booker being relatively reserved personalities, there was no alpha to course-correct the ship. By February, Budenholzer looked like a dead man walking. There was no adjustments, no inspiration, no answers. A day after the season finished, Budenholzer was fired 1 year into his 5-year, $50 million deal. A man they still owe $40 million to. And after his dismissal, boy did the drama leak out. Budenholzer asked Bradley Beal to play more like Drew Holiday. He clashed consistently with Devin Booker. He had a love-hate relationship with Kevin Durant. He reportedly never even spoke to Jusuf Nurkic when he was there. He clearly lost the locker room and never had the respect of any of his stars. Now, Kevin Durant still had his moments because he's Kevin Durant. He still dropped 26 and 9 on absurd efficiency, but something felt different. Not washed, not even close, but not dominant either. At 36, he couldn't just cover everyone else's flaws anymore. He wasn't switching onto guards the way he did in Golden State, and offensively, he needed things set up more cleanly than ever before. Devin Booker, on the other hand, was visibly frustrated. He had to be the point guard, the scorer, and the emotional leader. While a reasonable playmaker, we all know it's not his strength, but he did it anyway for large periods before they brought in Tyus Jones. And yet, he rarely complained. He just kept putting up 25, 4, and 7 quietly, like a soldier in a war he didn't ask for. But you could see it in his body language, the forced smiles, the silence after losses. This is absolutely not what he signed up for. As for Bradley Beal, he played just 53 games this season. And when he did play, he averaged a modest 17 points per game, his lowest output since 2015. He looked passive, unsure, and when it mattered most, he was nowhere to be found. The Suns took on a $250 million contract for Beal and didn't even get a third option they could rely on. They gave up their flexibility, they gave up future picks, and in return, they got a player who might already be in his decline. And it's not just that Beal underperformed, it's that Phoenix is now stuck with him and his no-trade clause. The Suns didn't just lose games this season, they collapsed when it mattered most. From March onward, the team unraveled. They were bullied by younger, hungrier squads. Minnesota, Sacramento passed them in the standings. Phoenix limped into the play-in and then quietly exited without even making the playoffs at all. A $180 million payroll, 3 All-Stars, and 0 postseason wins. Frank Vogel was fired just 11 months into his 5-year contract after steering the roster to the 6th seed last season, and in came Mike Budenholzer, a coach with a ring, yes, but also someone who ran out of Milwaukee for his playoff struggles. Now the Suns are locked into a top-heavy roster with no cap space, no picks, and no clear identity. Durant turns 37 next season. Beal is untradeable unless he waives his clause, and Booker, he might not say it, but you know he's thinking about if this situation is for him. And they need a new coach to come in and work miracles. It's a lot to ask in such little time. The ultimate questions are, can the Suns work it out with KD? Can Phoenix somehow reshape its bench with minimum deals? Can KD also hold off Father Time one more year? Or is it all already over? In a league built on super teams, the Suns might be the latest cautionary tale. 3 stars, no synergy, no structure, and a window that slams shut before it ever truly opened. One has to think what Booker and Durant are thinking, 2 guys who won Olympic gold just a few months ago, playing alongside the best talent the nation had to offer. A team now that somehow, someway, went 36-46 and finished 11th in the West. Phoenix gambled everything on talent and lost it all in silence. It's a shame for what promised to be one of the most exciting offensive teams ever put together, but this is exactly why the games matter and nothing is ever won on paper. But what do you guys think? Is the Suns' big 3 officially done? Can they still convince Devin Booker to stay long term, or is a rebuild inevitable? Let me know in the comments, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell because I post new videos every week. My name is Damian Peters, and I'll see you in the next one.